Sure, I can say that I want her towering over me, but what would she do to me? How does giantess sex work? Would she even feel it?
Okay, women. More specifically, beeg women. There's just something so captivating and tasteful to people when in reference to large women. However, there's a type, a certain class of women that quite literally tops all other built women of the waifu plane of reality. A woman so massive, so gargantuan, so mind-warpingly colossal that all other anime women would likely not stand a chance against them in brute strength, let alone something as trivial yet prioritized as assets. I'm of course talking about giantesses. Towering, mountainous, monolithic women capable of crushing any city with a few steps or dance, and assets that span for miles. For example, their thighs alone are reportedly so insanely giant, squish-jiggling, smack-packing mega muffin monoliths themselves that the mere clap from them would send shockwaves through the very fabric of existence, as well as breaking the sound barrier. Yet, many women, and men, to put simply, want, crave, and long to engage in intimate acts with them. It seems impossible, I'm well and incredibly aware, as that would theoretically be the most logical and sensible from an outside perspective. I mean, the women span up to 20,000 feet tall, and the smaller ones span up to about 30 feet tall. There's no way you could possibly satisfy this woman. Or is there? You see, the very concept and absurdness had me quickly indulge in research, and through extensive estimation and circumstantial solutions, doing intimate acts with a giantess, and possibly even satisfying this type of woman, is not necessarily impossible. However, it's not in the way that you are possibly thinking. Permit me to present my reasoning and give you this fantabulistic knowledge. Now, I consider the most important thing to acknowledge is, what does engaging and committing these sultry acts with this type of woman entail? You see, when you consider the action to be a dual exchange of pleasure, a horrific but easy to make mistake. You see, I rather easily theorized you could most definitely engage in certain sussy practices with a giantess. You just likely will not enjoy it, and there is a risk of succumbing to unalived status. To be able to understand this, however, we need to consider and climb aboard this mountainous question with rationality. So in order to engage in sussy activities and actually allow this giantess to have a good time, certain stimulation needs to be emphasized on certain bodily regions. This is something fornicators of the 3D and 2D plane are familiar with. But this is no ordinary woman. This is a woman capable of even being up to 20,000 feet tall. However, I think for a fair analysis, a reasonable sized woman needs to be considered and subjected to the theoretical concept. At the end of the day, any woman taller than, say, 10 feet could be called a giantess. And after so diligently studying these women in depictions and drawing logical, educated guesses, I believe a average-sized anime woman to be about 100 feet tall. How absolutely captivating. Because you see, I believe lusty acts with a woman of this size are entirely possible if the person in question is in fact set on the experience enough to actually attempt it. To be fair, we also need to consider the human in question to be of average height as well, which is about 5 feet at least. Now, how would an intimate act between two people that differentiate in height so drastically be possible? Well, the way in which it would be possible would be by exerting and utilizing your body to the fullest potential. I'm not gonna lie to you, this is going to take a lot of resilience, flexibility, stamina, determination, sanity, and not to any degree be claustrophobic, because those are all at the risk of being lost when engaging with the giantess in this way. The only feasible way to engage in a lusty, for lack of a better word, shock-wearing practices with these women is if you subject yourself to basically be their item of stimulation. To put simply, you have to be their plaything in order for this to work. I did my research, and it seems that a woman of this size could potentially host and contain a 5-foot person within them to induce stimulation. The approximate size is legitimately sufficient. I simply took the approximate average size of a normal woman and scaled them to size. All you have to do is go. The area that is going to need to be stimulated is located within the cavernous, dark, slimy depths and gnarly ridges. I'll locate the point of contention and then vigorously engage in adamant movement onto it in order to trigger the desired formulaic outcome. Up until this point, you will have to bear claustrophobia, darkness, slipperiness, that if the giant were standing up, you run the risk of falling 100 feet, low oxygen levels because of the cramped space and the altitude, possibly, odorous fumes potentially, especially in the process of this sweat-filled progression of engaging in this act, which brings me to my next point. Sweat. It's going to be very hot in there, especially as that lusty act progresses. Her body will get all hot due to the spicy acts, and in turn, you will get hot. However, there's no time for a water break, because if by some sheer determination you manage to actually get the giant to satisfy, you will run the risk of potential fluid being expedited out that could pose a threat for you being rather small. I'm not ruling out drowning as a possibility, and if you are just at the brink of that moment but just can't quite get there as a innate result of all the demotivating factors trying to get to you, then the giantess could possibly in the heat of the moment grab you by the lower part of the torso or the small feeties, and if she's not careful, break your feet and legs and violently use you for her desired outcome. In the end, you'll be a sloppy, wet, dizzy, dehydrated, possibly nauseous, tired, and ultimately unsatisfied mess with your eyes adjusting to the light again after being out of the tunnel. A hot, lusty good time possible with a 100-foot giantess. Undoubtedly. Is it worth it? That'll be up to you to figure out. And with that, if you guys enjoyed this video, theoretically if you have watched this far then you do enjoy my videos, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, share this video with your high school teacher and wife, share this with anybody that you wish to spread my undoubtable diligent knowledge to, and remember, always do everything purely and solely and only for the purpose of science and the pursuit of knowledge, and I'll be back to answer another question that I and scientists can answer.